there, this is Sue Stapp. I'm here to share with you the Paper Pumpkin for the month of June. And Paper Pumpkin is that monthly subscription. It comes right to your house. And this is what the box looks like. And every certain seasons they have different boxes, but this is the main one. For June 2025, the name of this is called Full of Charm. So what you get is you get a Stampin' Spot. It's one of our colors, and this one's Pretty Peacock. You get a stamp set, and then you get all the fixing to make the projects. And usually it's cards. And if I get a kit that's not cards, I usually still make cards out of them. But I'll show you these parts, and then we can make some. So we have envelopes, and then the cards themselves. This is the base, and you can see they're scored. This would be the front. So you add on to them with different embellishments. And there's 3 of each card, it looks like. This is the other one. So you have 3 different card bases, lots of little things that you can put on for sentiment strips or circles or squares or diamonds, I guess that would be. And then there's also these beautiful cutouts that will go on some of the cards. I'm anxious to see how that goes. And then look at how pretty these are. This looks really nice. The pink flowers are beautiful. So you make, in this month, you're going to make 9 cards, and they look like this when they're done. And one says, "Let's celebrate you." The other one says, "To a wonderful friend." And this one says, "Miss you." And then there's the coordinating envelopes that go on all of them. This is the instruction sheet that comes with it each month, and it'll give you pictorial instructions, which I appreciate. And then it also has a list of the components that are in the kits. It says 9 cards and 9 envelopes. It also tells you the coordinating colors that go with this. If you have in your stash either paper or ink of those colors, you can play with those and add them to the cards. So what I do is I take the kits that they have here. These are little embellishments, and these are dimensionals, which is our 3D adhesive spots, and then these are regular glue spots. So what I do is I take these items and I'll put together the kits as they prescribe in the instructions, but then I'll also use the parts and make my own creations and share those with you, so that if you want to, you can do alternatives. And I want to show you how pretty this is. Look how pretty this is. I love the blue and the brown together. Isn't that beautiful? So this is the kit for this month. This is called Tear and Tape. It's a 2-sided tape that's super strong. And I'm going to take all this and have a bunch of cards to show you shortly. So stay with me. Thanks for stopping in today, and I appreciate you watching the video. Hi there. Thanks for tuning back in to see the final installment of this video. This video has been the Paper Pumpkin for June of 2025, and the name of it is Full of Charm. Now, this is the instruction sheet, and if you'll recall, it gives you a photographic or pictorial instruction sheet with all of the things you need to do to make, in this case, 9 cards. And I showed you that there was coordinating colors that you could use too with this if you had them from previous kits or from your stash. And it does list a whole set of components, and we had all of these things to work with. And I will show you what I created. First of all, let me show you the first 3 cards, and those are the ones that are prescribed if you make the Paper Pumpkin as directed. And there's 3, and they have different color schemes. This looks more pink to me, and this one has a lot more greenery, and it has the big orange center flower, and this has the pretty peacock and coral color. So these are the first three. Miss You, To a Wonderful Friend, and Let's Celebrate You. So I took the components and made this big pile of cards. Let me show you. So the first one I have here, and these are in no specific order. This is one of the card fronts that I used, and I cut this out of my stash of dies, and this was a piece that was in the kit. Now I layered the pretty peacock on here, and I had put this on a gold colored paper. This is one that was cut from the pink card, and I used 2 different shades of pink that we've had in the past, and I put Happy Birthday on that one. This one I did the pink also, and you can see I used the pink background. I put Miss You on here, and I used the 3 gold sequins that were part of the package. This is another one that I cut apart the large die that was in the kit, and that had the green and pretty peacock colors. And from that, I glued those onto this white background. This is the same background as the cardstock, which was Pool Party. And the Sending Warm Wishes is from the current set Notes and Totes, which I love. I've been making some cards with that one. So that's what that sentiment is from, and I used the pretty peacock on that. This one I did in the rust colors, and it says To a Wonderful Friend. This is the big die cut, and the leaves are the ones that I used on this card. Now this is a fancy fold card, and I don't have a sentiment on it yet. I like to leave sentiments until I'm ready to send cards to people, but this one has an open fold like this. And I did the stamp. This is part of the paper pumpkin kit, and you can see I put it on that side also. This piece here is from the envelope, and this piece here is from the cardstock. So that is that one. This one is using the stamp that is the leaf that is in the kit, and it's using a piece of the cardstock, and I used Go-To Greetings, which is a retired greeting set that I just love. I use it regularly. So if you see something you really like and you want to keep it in your stash, by all means, once you purchase your kit or your stamp set, like in this case, I'm still using it. So just a note on that one, I put little gold twine on it. And here's another one that's a fancy fold. Now this is the card front, and I took it and cut out part of it so it overlays, and I put it on the background that has the white and the gold, which is also a card front. So again, just opens up like so. And this one is, I made this a thank you card, and I cut the piece from the card front and used a strip from the part with the polka dots and put thank you on there. And I used my twine on here, my linen thread, actually it's called. I love using that too. And then this is one that is one of the card bases from the kits. And I used just the little purple piece that comes with the die cuts that is already printed. And I put the Miss You on here, and I used some gold dots, embellishments, and a little brass butterfly that I still had in my stash. I'm running out of those. I hope they haven't stopped them yet, because I want to get some more of those. This one, I did a piece with I made a stencil out of this. Let me get into my trash here so I can show you what I did. This is a piece of one of the punch outs, and I use this to use as a stencil. And you can see I used it on the blue and I used it on the purple. So this I did purple. I outlined it with the silver, and I used the diamond embellishments on the corners. This is a previous corner punch that we have, and actually I have a couple of those, and I love those also. This is on gray granite, and I put in the gold dots on this one because I had used up all that paper. But you can see just by using a gold ink pen or gel pen, you can make your own dots. And this one says, "Let's celebrate you." This one I did, this is the gold dots, and I stamped the image from the stamp set on the corners, the four corners of this card. And this is the Pretty Peacock cardstock. On this one, I used some gold cardstock, and I did a corner of the card base that had the gold, almost a linen-y look on there. And I just put a green punch out from our stash with this, that's with the kit, and I added some of the embellishments. So you can see that's the gold on the inside, so you have a lot of room for sentiments there. This is another fancy fold that I did, and this is those punch outs, but I used these with the coral and the purple and green, and this just with the coral. And then this is one of the flowers that was in the kit. This is an old border set, and again, a punch that I love, and that just opens like so. Almost looks like a pretty window, doesn't it? And then this one I used kind of a geometric look, and I did this on Lemon Lime Twist, and I think Lemon Lime Twist and Pretty Peacock go very well together, and with these white and gold and orange accents, it looks really pretty. And this one is one that has the punch outs, and I lifted this up so that it was on dimensionals. I did use all the dimensionals in this kit, and that's the first time I've done that since I've been doing paper pumpkins. So a lot of these things, the cards I'm showing you, almost all of them have something that's lifted up with dimensionals. This is on a gold background, and I cut the gold paper on the lines over there and put those on. I used a bow. Now this bow is Pretty Peacock and Old Olive, so goes with both colors. And again, that's from my stash. It's been around, it was around a few years back, and I use it as something comes up. Now this one I cut out one of the envelopes. The envelopes have the orange colored lines on it, and the cards bases that have this are gold. So there are two different things to use. But this is an envelope I cut up, and I put it on Pretty Peacock, and then I put the coral and the purple and olive on there. Again, the colors coordinate so beautifully, and that's one of the great things about Stampin' Up that I love. Now this one opens up as a easel, but it pops up. What do you think about that? So it folds flat in a card, and then whenever your person gets it, it lifts up like that. So you can see the fold that I used on there. I think it's called a diamond fold, but I stamped both of these end pieces with the stamp in the set, and then this I did I made a stencil also out of the large piece that was the die cut that I used here. And you can see this is the same one, except I just stenciled a little bit, and I used my sponges to do this. You can use your blenders, or you could even use watercolors and do this if you wanted it a little bit bolder. But I like the subtleness of this one. And then this is one that's kind of a fancy fold again, and it has the pink on the edges, and I just did a little bit of a shadow behind it, and I open that up and the shadow continues on this page, and it says, "Let's Celebrate You." So again, kind of a continuation there with a little bit of color, and the "Let's Celebrate You" is just behind this piece. Okay, we got two more. This one is one I did with the stencils. My cutter must need a new blade. Whenever you get those little, I don't know, pimples on the edge of your paper where it shows, that is a sign that you need a new blade on your trimmer. So I'm going to have to get that out. Again, this is that ribbon with the pretty peacock and the old olive. And this is one of the ones that I used to do the, oops, losing a embellishment there. I'm sorry, the stencil that I used to color this in. And then this is the last one I have, and I just randomly stamped this, and I did the first and second generation where you stamp it onto your stamp pad first, stamp it on the paper, and then stamp it again. And as you keep stamping, like this is 1, 2, 3 times that this one was stamped. This is 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and this one is 1, 2, and 3. So, and this, I took one of my punches and I went around the edge with the pretty peacock, put a little bit of that ribbon behind it. And this is a stamp from the same stamp that was on here, just stamped on the original one time. And that is, the repeat pattern on this one is, I think, is really cool. So, you know, I hope this gives you, I mean, these aren't super fancy cards. They do have some fun folds in here. But this is a big selection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Oop, here's some more. 20, 21. So I have actually 22 plus the originals. 23 plus the 3 originals. So I have 25 cards here from one box that was a paper pumpkin kit. And this is very typical of what you can do with a paper pumpkin. And I like doing the alternatives because once I get started, my mind just goes bing, 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 and I end up with a stack of cards. So 25 cards. Hope you enjoyed them. Again, let me show you. This is the stamp set that comes with it, and this is called this is a creative stamp that we developed that actually looks and stamps with both colors, and it does it in one stamp. This month, the set was called Full of Charm, and this is, you can tell some of the colors do stain your various stamps, but it doesn't affect how they work. So I've got one that has a little green on it. I got a couple of pink ones, but they will still work just fine. And I keep track of these I have one of my card cases that I keep by year each month's paper pumpkin in. Now I still have this big stack of envelopes, which I only used one of them. And I have one more card base here. You always get the Stampin' Spot, which is a little mini version of one of our big stamp pads. And this is the tear-in tape. So I still have all these things to use on other cards, but the big news here is that I have 25 cards from that box. And, you know, I use retired cardstocks and different items that are not in my current repertoire of card making, but they look beautiful, they come in handy, and there's nothing better than giving a handmade card in the mail. And I know that everyone, not everyone, but most people nowadays text and send various messages through Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. But I'm a believer in postage and handmade cards. It makes a difference to me when I receive a card. I always look and see who made it, and if the sentiments are directed specifically towards me, it makes me feel very special. So why not make your friends and family feel very special and make them a handmade card today? Thanks for joining me. This Paper Pumpkin subscription is available on my website. Let me move this and I can show you my contact information. My website, suestamp.stampinup.net. That's my 24/7 store. You can go in there anytime and place orders. And my email is suestamp1@gmail.com. If you have any questions or would like further information, please give me a thumbs up. And if you subscribe to the Paper Pumpkin and hit the little bell, you'll get notified every time I do another monthly Paper Pumpkin. And I try and do them every month. Sometimes I don't get around to it, but I got my garden planted this spring and I was a little behind, but I'm ready now, ready for the next one. Wait until you see what's coming up in July. Take care. Happy stamping.